Okay, we'll call our regular meeting of May 4th to order. And I'll read the notice requirements that have been provided in the Open Publics Meeting Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given in the new schedule of meetings of the Spotswood Borough Council on January 1st, 2015. The new schedule was transmitted to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Spotswood, and posted in the municipal building located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey. When we rise for the salute to the flag in a moment of silence, if you could keep in your thoughts this young man that was slain as a New York police officer, Brian Moore, 25 years old. He was virtually assassinated. It's a terrible tragedy, and if we can keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers during a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Here.
Councilman Seeley?
Here.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes, here.
Council President Stolen?
Here.
Mayor Palacino?
Present.
Okay, we have a set of minutes, April 20th, 2015, regular minutes.
Make a motion, we move the minutes?
Second?
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have another set of minutes, April 20th, 2015, the public hearing on the Immaculate Conception Carnival.
Motion to move them?
Second?
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Ritchie?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have an ordinance on second reading, ordinance 04-2015, bond ordinance amending in part bond ordinance number 2014-12, adopted on November 10th, 2014, provided for water, sewer, utility improvements in the Borough of Spotswood in order to increase this appropriation, therefore, by $265,000 for a total appropriation of $1,095,000, and to increase the allocation of the appropriation to costs permitted under NJSA 40A:2-20, authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
Any motion to open it?
Motion to open?
Second?
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Rickey?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes. This ordinance is not bonding new money or more money. It is just appropriating that money within this bond from funds that we have for additional water improvements that we're doing. Any comments or questions on this ordinance? If not,
Motion to close the public portion?
Second?
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Rickey?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
yes. I make a motion that we pass this ordinance on second reading, advertise it according to law. That's it.
Second the motion?
Councilwoman Rhodes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Rickey?
Yes.
I'm confused with the new council president. Council President Stolen?
Yes.
Okay, we have an ordinance on first reading. Public hearing is set May 18, 2015. Ordinance 05-2015. Bond ordinance amending in part bond ordinance number 2007-10, adopted on July 9th, 2007, as amended by bond ordinance number 2008-13, adopted on August 11th, 2008, as amended by bond ordinance number 2009-18, adopted on December 21st, 2009, as amended by bond ordinance number 2010-11, adopted on December 6, 2010, as amended by bond ordinance number 2012-11, adopted on August 27, 2012, providing for road improvements in the Borough of Spotswood in order to increase the allocation of the appropriation to costs permitted under NJSA 40A:20, authorized in and by the Borough of Spotswood in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey.
Make a motion, we pass this ordinance on first reading, set a public hearing for May 18th, and advertise it according to law.
Second.
Councilwoman Rhodes?
Yes.
Councilman Seeley?
Yes.
Councilman Ricky?
Yes.
Council President Stolen?
Yes.
We have resolutions under consent agenda. Copies of the resolutions under consent agenda are available for perusal or if you want to take on the table. Council President and council members, I'll take a motion to adopt resolutions 2015-87 through 2015-92.
Make a motion, we adopt resolutions 2015-87 through 92.
Second?
Question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you're right.
Marge, did you want to pull 92
Oh,
for a separate vote?
no, it's fine.
Okay. Sorry.
Second.
You're seconded by Kurt.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, we have some proclamations. First one is very important and dear to us here on the dais. This is a proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of our local government, and it exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and not here. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, Nicholas Policino, Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood, does recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extends appreciations to our municipal clerk, Patricia DiStefano, and to all municipal clerks for their vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
Absolutely.
And it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of municipal clerk. She has been, while things change, council members change, administrations change, the municipal clerk is our rock, and she guides us, she keeps track of all the dates that are important. For those of us who have ever been in our own businesses, you never leave when you're your own boss. If you go for vacation, you have to plan it around things that are happening in your business, and it's very much true with Pat. I mean, this is something that it's like she's the boss of that office, and she has to keep track on what's happening. We appreciate all her efforts, and while they're not as visible as some of us sitting on the dais see things happening, she's behind the scenes making sure that we all look good, and we thank her for that. Thank you, Pat.
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much.
Even if we don't have our own business, but we run a big department in the hospital,
Absolutely.
we realize that it's really all about the person who organizes and is the hub of the wheel, and you are the hub of our wheel. So thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Not to mention, you're my psychologist.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for the advice you've given me.
You're quite welcome.
Ed, you're next.
Okay, we have a proclamation, Get Into the Act, Older Americans Month, May 2015. Whereas the Borough of Spotswood includes a thriving community of older Americans who deserve recognition for their contributions and sacrifices to ensure a better life for future generations. And whereas the Borough of Spotswood is committed to helping all individuals live longer, healthier lives in the communities of their choice for as long as possible. And whereas since 1965, the Older Americans Act has provided services that help older adults remain healthy and independent. And whereas we recognize the value of community engagement and service in helping older adults remain healthy and active while giving back to others. And whereas the Spotswood Office on Aging Senior Center has acted as a catalyst for mobilizing the creativity, energy, vitality, and commitment of the older residents of Spotswood. And whereas through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, senior citizens empower older citizens of Spotswood to contribute to their own health and well-being and the well-being of their fellow citizens of all ages. And whereas the Spotswood Senior Center in the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex affirms the dignity, self-worth, and independence of our older residents by facilitating their decisions and actions, tapping their experiences, skills, knowledge, and enabling their continued contributions to the community. Now therefore, Nicholas Policino, Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood, do hereby proclaim May to be Older Americans Month. I urge every resident to take time this month to celebrate older adults and the people who serve and support them as powerful and vital individuals who greatly contribute to the community.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
You're welcome.
We have a proclamation for the National Day of Prayer. That's going to be on Thursday, May 7th. Whereas civic prayers and national days of prayers have a long and venerable history in our constitutional republic, dating back to the First Continental Congress in 1775. Whereas the Declaration of Independence, our first statement as Americans of national purpose and identity, made the laws of nature and nature's God the foundation of our United States of America, and asserted that people have inalienable rights that are God-given. And whereas the Supreme Court has affirmed the right of state legislators to open their sessions with prayer, and the Supreme Court and the U.S. Congress themselves begin each day with prayer. And whereas in 1988, legislation setting aside the first Thursday in May in each year as a National Day of Prayer was passed unanimously by both houses of Congress and signed by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas a National Day of Prayer is an opportunity for Americans of all faiths to join in united prayer to acknowledge our independence to God, give thanks for blessings received, to request healing for wounds endured, and to ask God to guide our leaders and bring wholeness to the United States and her citizens. And whereas it is fitting and proper to give thanks to God by observing a day of prayer in the Borough of Spotswood, when all may acknowledge our blessings and express gratitude for them, while recognizing the need for strengthening religious and moral values in our state and nation. Whereas this year marks the 62nd annual National Day of Prayer, with this year's theme, Lord, Hear Our Cry. And now, therefore, Mayor Nicholas Policino, Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood, does hereby proclaim Thursday, May 7th, 2015, as designated as a National Day of Prayer in the Borough of Spotswood, and encourages our citizens to observe the day in ways appropriate to its importance and significance. And it is a good time to remember that we are all blessed in so many ways.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. And next, I think, is March.
Okay, it's my pleasure as a nurse for 36 years to read the next proclamation. Whereas the nearly 3.1 million registered nurses in the United States comprise our nation's largest healthcare profession, and whereas the depth and breadth of the registered nursing profession meets the different and emerging healthcare needs of the American population in a wide range of settings, and whereas the American Nurses Association, as the voice for the registered nurses of this country, is working to chart a new course for a healthy nation that relies on increasing delivery of primary and preventive health care. And whereas a renewed emphasis on primary and preventive health care will require the better utilization of all of our nation's registered nursing resources. And whereas professional nursing has been demonstrated to be an indispensable component in the safety and quality of care of hospitalized patients, and whereas the demand for registered nursing services will be greater than ever because of the aging of the American population, the continuing expansion of life-sustaining technology, and the explosive growth of home health care services. And whereas that more qualified registered nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of healthcare consumers in this community and all communities. And whereas the cost-effective, safe, and quality healthcare services provided by registered nurses will be an ever more important component of the U.S. healthcare delivery system in the future. And whereas, along with the American Nurses Association and the Borough of Spotswood, has declared the week of May 6th through 12th as National Nurses Week, with the theme Delivering Quality and Innovation and Patient Care, and in celebration of the ways in which registered nurses strive to provide safe and high-quality patient care and map out the way to improve our healthcare system. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Nicholas Policino, Mayor, along with the Borough Council, ask that all residents of this Borough of Spotswood join us in honoring the registered nurses who care for all of us, And be it further resolved that the residents of Spotswood, New Jersey celebrate registered nursing's accomplishments and efforts to improve our healthcare system and show our appreciation for the nation's registered nurses, not just during this week, but at every opportunity throughout the year. Signed, Nicholas Policino, Mayor. And we all know, we have all had nurses care for us, and I belong to the American Nurses Association from 1979 on. I've paid dues to them. And I am proud to call myself a registered nurse, and I am proud to work alongside all the nurses in this country, and especially at St. Peter's, and especially on the Community Mobile Health Services mobile health van that we use to deliver healthcare services throughout the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Marge. And Ted, as a retired officer, if you would read the police report?
Like Marge, I'm very proud of the fact that I spent 25 years in the police department. I've been retired for 10 years now. And first of all, I'd like to thank the council president for his thoughts for the slain New York City police officer who died this morning. It's my pleasure to read the following. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated the week of May 10 through 16, 2015 to be dedicated as National Police Week. And whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Borough of Spotswood Police Department. And whereas law enforcement officers are our guardians of life and property, defenders of individual rights to be free men, warriors in the war against crime, and dedicated to the preservation of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas on May 13, 2015, in conjunction with the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 27th Candlelight Vigil, the Borough of Spotswood will be holding a dedication ceremony for the Spotswood Police Memorial, a project coordinated by Eagle Scout Tim Janis of Life Scout Troop 35 of Spotswood to honor all of Spotswood's finest police officers who have passed. And whereas we call upon all citizens to make every effort to express their thanks to our police department who make it possible for us to leave our homes and family in safety each day and return to our homes knowing we are protected by Spotswood officers willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard our loved ones, our property, and government against all who would violate the law. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Nicholas Policino, Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood, does hereby proclaim the week of May 10 through 16, 2015 to be National Police Week, and calls upon all citizens in the community to especially honor and show our sincere appreciation for the police officers of Spotswood by deed, remark, and attitude.
Thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
Comments? Marge?
What a wonderful community we live in, that we have Eagle Scouts who do such a wonderful job on their projects in town. And if you haven't had the chance to stop by the police memorial right outside the doors here, please stop and look at that. It is just phenomenal. You know, and we are so proud of him and our police department who do safeguard us each and every day. So pass our thanks along to the chief, and congratulations to the chief and the police department for a job well done, Nick, okay?
Definitely will, Marge, thank you.
I have the Spotswood Office on Aging newsletter for May, and there are a million things here to do, okay? So if you're 55 and over, you're looking for something to keep you busy, there's all kinds of trips, there's all kinds of knitting, there's lunches, there's shows. I would encourage you to join our senior center and experience some of this stuff. It is really nice. I did attend the volunteer luncheon along with Dawn McDonald. We presented certificates to all of the volunteers from the Office on Aging, and there must have been 50 of them at least.
At least.
They do everything from preparing tax returns on a volunteer basis to serving snacks, to making coffee, to you name it. They're essential down there to doing this newsletter. So I just want to say thanks to all the volunteers again for the great job that they do. I did want to ask that in a borough that half of the citizens in this borough are women, that we would love to have some women come out for office to put in their resumes. I would encourage each of you who knows someone, man or woman, who's interested in serving up here to please get their resumes to Pat. so that they can be considered and interviewed in the beginning, our first June meeting, because it is so important to have the right group of people leading this town so that we can make the improvements that Kurt talked about and move forward. The CDBG grant that I administer with Bruce, we're both representatives to that. We did obtain the money for the firehouse apron from that grant, so we're grateful to the county because that is federal money that's administered through the county. So that helps us make some big improvements like that in town at no local cost to the taxpayer. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Marge.
You're welcome.
Ed?
Couple things. First, I'll start off with, I discussed earlier the traffic signal. Well, I noticed the other day that there are 2 signs in front of the old EMS building that warn of blocking the right-of-way for the EMS leaving the building. I was wondering if it's possible we could take these signs and move them towards the firehouse. So, it's just a matter of dropping some bolts and bolting them over there, and it's not much, but it's a start in the right direction.
It's a smart idea. I haven't seen them.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sounds
It
like
is
idea.
definitely a problem over there.
It's a problem when you sit there at the yellow line and the next guy behind you pulls around in front of you and parks in front of you.
That is exactly what happened to me this week. When they were doing utility work and there was traffic, I patiently waited behind the yellow lines and 3 cars cut right in front of me in traffic. And then everybody behind me is beeping at me for letting them in.
Actually, you should get out of your car, walk over and say, "You're welcome," because I left that spot open for you.
I wanted to, but I was on 10 trip time, so I didn't think that was a good idea.
On another note, this Saturday, I attended the Snuffy Hollow Camporee
Yes,
as a
annual.
representative for the mayor. We gave out a Mayor's Cup trophy along with 2 other communities in the Elks. Our trophy went to Troop 1 out of Hunterdon County. I believe the winner of the Snuffy Hollow, if it should matter to anybody in the room, was Troop 97, I believe.
From where, Ed?
I'm thinking South Brunswick, if I remember
Terrific.
correctly.
That's very coveted trophy.
It was a good event. They were greatly appreciated that that we came there because us and Monroe, let me say that on air, us and Monroe were the only 2 towns that had representatives there. But it was a good day. And the final thing would be the parade. We're getting closer. Countdown. 21 days. Things are falling into place. I spoke to Barry earlier tonight about we're going to communicate with getting all the fire departments in line. I'm going to try and do it through the web because I'm trying to use my email address now for responses. It's a lot faster, it's quicker, and I get a more accurate number. Our Grand Marshal this year will be Tommy Pruneville. He's a Vietnam veteran of American Legion Post 253. Okay, and his son will probably be joining him. His son is a fine young man, and I believe he suffers a little bit from something from Agent Orange, but good kid, got a great spirit. Good young man. He's 30 years old now. But we look forward to that day. I hope you all come and put the word out there. And it's going to be from the high school down at DeVoe Lake again, same as always. And I want to thank the mayor and his administration because their continued efforts for fundraising, because that's what makes it work, along with the many groups that we will be thanking towards the end by notification and website as well as the newspaper.
Thank
That's
you.
all I
At the
got.
morning, Ed. The morning, the tour.
Morning services, I was going to give that out at our next meeting because we have one
Okay.
more meeting. So morning services, if you're interested, starts at 6 in the morning. Some of you may not be interested in that. But by the time we get to 10 o'clock, we're over here at the walkway, which is probably the most important one. But if you happen to have somebody in town buried at one of the local cemeteries, we visit them all within a, I would say, 4-mile radius. And we'll have times posted, so if there's someone there you want to pay your respects to while we do our service, then fine.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
And thank you for all you do with the parade to organize that every year.
I have a lot of help. A lot of help. Different people have stepped up this year.
Still need someone to
Run it next year, you're right. But,
organize it. Ted?
I've just got a couple things. One, we've all had an opportunity now to, I believe we've all had an opportunity to tour George Street. So it may be time for us to do a workshop to discuss that. I know that Bruce or I've been told Bruce has said that that plant may not be viable, or that building may not be viable. But I think it's time to have a workshop so that we can discuss that. After walking through that building, I think that could survive a bomb blast. So,
Without cutting you off,
go ahead,
if I can step in for a little bit,
jump in.
take one pass.
Am I stealing your thunder by any chance?
Just a little, but
All right, then
that's
I'll
okay.
defer that one over to you.
That's all right, Ted. So I've been working with Bruce and Dave for a while. We've been looking to see what we can do with the plants. So if we were to put in one of these SCED type plants.
Package plant?
Yep, package plant. Right now, we are paying East Brunswick roughly $109,000 a year, $324,000 a year for 400,000 gallons a day. If we were to put in the package plant, that would drop our cost down to 125,000 gallons and down to 99,000. So you'll see a cost savings of roughly $225,000 annually.
Wow.
If we went, we're looking at putting one of these in the back corner section, and for future, we have the space to put a second one of these units in. You can see over a 20-year period, you know, we're looking at 55,000. Looking at the $73,000 in debt service over 20 years. But I think a little package plan like this with the cost savings from EB, with the way that building is built, is a decent way, since that well goes out to what do you call Farrington, which is the better quality water. So we've been trying to figure out ways to do it. These numbers are rough estimates, more on the we call high side. So this is where we're looking to go. But as Councilman Ritchie said, you know, a workshop for you guys would be good too. But this, I just want to give you a brief overview of what we've been working on.
Right, we had spoken before the meeting, and, you know, we were going, in order not to break sunshine laws, we were going 2 people at a time into the building, and
It's tough.
And we need to have, as Ted said, we need to have a full-fledged workshop where we're all present, we all get our questions answered, we have the professionals there.
Right.
So, and I know it's very difficult to organize this many people at one time, but Dawn, maybe if you can get the professionals, Fred Dennis, and I don't know if we need Dave Samuels or if just Bruce, you know, if you can figure that out, put some dates together that would work with them, probably late in the day or evening, 7 o'clock, something like that, and then present it to us and see what we can do to get our group together. But I think, you know, certainly the professionals first, see where they're available, and try to make a manageable system out of trying to schedule this.
Okay. I'll get a few dates and I'll put them out to you via email.
Okay,
Okay.
that would be great. Anything else, Ted?
Yeah, Dawn, hopefully, maybe I'm stealing yours now. The 2 ordinances that we talked about today, were you going to discuss those at all?
No, I wasn't sure if everybody had an opportunity to review yet.
Okay, I'm not sure if everyone's had an opportunity to review these. There's a couple of proposed ordinances by Lieutenant Corbacero. Both of them are good ordinances, but I had a couple of reservations on them, the way they were written, because it's basically language pulled from other ordinances. The first one talks about the precious metals and secondhand goods, that type of thing in town. I'm absolutely in favor of regulating anybody who's buying gold, melting down gold, anything like that, because that sometimes gets a riffraff element, selling stuff that they've taken from elsewhere without somebody's knowledge. But the way the language is proposed in the ordinance, the 2 words in there that bothered me were secondhand goods, because I don't want that to be broadly interpreted to go after St. Peter's thrift shop or perhaps the consignment store. I don't want to put a burden on places like that. Certainly the precious metals, the jewelers, you know, that are buying this type of stuff, I have no problem with that, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, that language is adjusted a little bit.
I just recently dealt with the jeweler in town, went over by ShopRite. And we were having a lengthy conversation about it. He already told me he has to take pictures of this stuff and report what he gets and keep
We
it
did
for how
that
long?
like a
When-
couple years ago.
Yeah.
It
When
does.
Mayor Barlow was in office,
Right.
he came here because Mayor Barlow wanted to raise the age to 21 to be able to sell. And he came to the dais and he talked to us that were there at the time, that he was going to lose money in his business by us raising the age. So we lowered it back down. So
But that was the age restriction.
That
but
was
he
the
still
age
is
restriction.
He's still required to take photos.
Under
of-
that, yes. He has to take
Yeah,
a photo
because-
of, he needs the ID from the person, photo of the, what do you call it, jewelry that he's bought.
But we don't actually have an ordinance, though, that's mandating it.
We do, but this is adding an extra layer where they would have to be licensed by the state in order to,
By the state or by the,
by
does
the
the
state.
state regulate that?
Yes.
Okay.
So that
Like I
means you
said,
would, I'm
It's
sorry.
an
I'm
extra
sorry.
layer of
My biggest
protection.
concern is just taking out the language, it says secondhand goods. I don't want that to be interpreted, like I said, where they're going after St. Peter's thrift shop and saying, you're
Of
not
course.
licensed. That was the issue I had there.
How does that affect gold buyers? People that travel to these Immaculate Conception and they have them parties where they buy gold. The Firehouse, I believe they had one at one time. I know the Legion had one at one time. That person that buys the gold is, well, they regulated under this? I mean, do they have a license to do it? You need a license to buy gold?
I believe they have to have a licensed person that administers that for them. Like when you have the gold buying parties at people's houses, the vendor has that license.
Because I don't think we've
not
ever
the
asked
people.
anybody for that.
No.
You
So
know?
this is, like I said, adding that extra layer.
Enlighten me on the gold buying party.
It's like Tupperware.
It's like Tupperware. It's
Yeah.
like people, when the first gold first started to go up the hill, everybody was digging through their jewelry box. They were taking stuff out that God knows when.
Right, but if they're going to the firehouse, somebody at the firehouse is selling the gold,
No,
you're
no,
purchasing it there.
purchasing.
A vendor that,
But a vendor
It's a
runs that
fundraiser.
party for you, that fundraiser.
Fundraiser.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that probably would fall under this, the ordinance then, for the regulation. But again, they're not the ones doing it, they have to bring in
Oh, it's the
someone
same
that
with
does it
everybody
that's
has to do that.
regulated.
Yes,
Okay.
Right.
that's my concern. That's my questions, that's all.
I didn't even know that they did that.
Learn something new every day.
I'm the new guy. The second ordinance that I discussed with Dawn also talked about opening the roadways. My only concern that I expressed at Dawn was the language is that it mandates any person, you know, you get a homeowner who's got a leak outside in their pipe and they've got to call a plumber, and that plumber's going to come in there and he's going to pull a permit if he has to, and he's going to dig the road up in front of your house. I don't want to see the cop car come down the street, you know, now somebody's got a $6,000 expense ready to fix their leaky water pipe, and the cop hands them a $500 ticket because they didn't call headquarters. 8,000 people in town, 7,900 of them aren't going to know to pick up the phone because the plumber's coming over. So if there's a permit pulled, I want to see that whoever issues that permit or whoever's in the process of dealing with that permit notify traffic and let them know. If
We do
there's going
have
to be
that in
an
place already.
if there's an issue, the police department should notify the homeowner, not the homeowner trying to figure out whether they should notify anybody. Or the police department can let Patty know or upstairs, and as part of getting that permit to finish your job, the contractor, the homeowner is told, by the way, you need to contact the police department.
Right.
It's not fair to stick somebody with a summons because they had no clue.
and I had spoke to Bruce and Dawn before the meeting. We don't want to make it more onerous for contractors to follow laws. I mean, there's 560-something municipalities in the state. If only some of them do this, I wanted to make sure that there is a procedure in place. Now, I'm told they have to have a road opening permit. Any road, they have to have a road in town.
That's every
They're
place.
supposed to.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to.
Okay. But I just want something in place so that when they check for one thing, they find out about everything else, and there's no surprises.
Right.
And I mean, certainly, our main thoroughfare streets, Main Street, Old Stage, Summerhill, Snow Hill, those would, DeVoe, those streets, if someone digs, it can cause a major problem. But, you know, the regular side
If
streets, it's
somebody's,
not.
yeah, somebody's cutting a hole on Red Bank Road
Right.
4 feet from their house, is it going to create a big issue?
Right, right. Well, in the road opening process, they are advised that they have to notify the police. We do give a copy of the road opening permit to the police department. Sometimes they follow through, sometimes they don't. This is adding something to our ordinances so that the police have some teeth as to if somebody is doing it in the main thoroughfare and they're not following the rules.
Right, they could shut it down.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Did an incident happen to bring this about?
There have been many, yes.
Quite a few.
Okay, all right, well, that's something to investigate, and we can see what we want to do with that at the next meeting.
I'm done.
Been done?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Sorry.
Two small things. At the New Jersey Conference of Mayors, I met with a company called EMAX. They do our power reverse auctions. So they looked over our borough, what we pay for power. They estimate that if we did an auction, we'd save around $3,500 a year if we did it just with us, with the borough itself. I talked to another company called Good Energy, and that's one that you buy the power as the municipality, and you also buy it for all the homes in town. Where, I don't know if it was last meeting or the meeting before when the lady came in, they basically mail out a mailer and say, if you want to stay with us, you know, if you want to stay on this plan, you don't do anything. If you don't, if you want to opt out, just fill the card out and send it back. They said a town our size, average resident would save about $250 a year. So it's still a decent amount of savings. I'm just going back and forth with those two companies to try to lock in stuff. If we want to do the auction one, we would have to put a resolution on the agenda for the day of the auction. We have the auction. The borough does not have to say yes at the end of the auction. We just have to have a resolution drafted, so when the auction is finished that night, when we're given the results, who the lowest bidder is, how much money we're going to save, if we want to move forward with it, then we have to go forward with the resolution.
So you have a reserve?
Yes.
I mean, you can say, no, we're not
Correct.
interested.
Correct. You can do the auction and just totally say no, walk away. It does not cost us a dime.
Does this also count our street lighting, or is that separate?
I believe that's separate. I will find out.
Okay.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I mean, this is all great, as long as it works in the right direction.
Yeah.
You've heard horror stories on the individual homeowner side where they sign up and then the rates either go down and theirs don't. So, you know, it could be a nightmare if it works the
The
wrong.
EMAX one, the governor's really pushing them. A lot of towns. Monroe went with the other way, where they sold the power to the whole town.
But what company did they go with? One of these or something?
Con Edison actually
Oh,
was
Con
the
Edison.
company that was the best bid. So it all depends on who's in the market, you know, how much is the share that they're buying it for. But it's,
Theoretically, Monroe Township is now the electrical provider to their residents.
no,
No?
it's still JCP now.
They just selected the supplier
They're
of the
only,
electric.
yeah,
It uses JCP&L's.
everybody in town.
Right, it uses JCP&L's wires, but,
JCP&L's crews, if the line goes down,
right, and JCP&L still does the billing. It's just, it's a different
But the
supplier.
energy's purchased
Right.
from Con Edison.
Yes.
At a different rate.
at a different rate.
Okay.
Like, Good Energy also mentioned that if you had neighboring towns that wanted to get together, you can drastically lower the rate. You know, larger, if the project's larger, it'll end up bringing the rates lower.
Larger consortium of a couple towns.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So I was thinking about reaching out to Mayor Martin, seeing if she's interested, or their council at least. Jamesburg's mayor, and we call it Oldbridge Mayor Henry, and see if they have any thought on this.
What about if we were to try to jump on with Monroe?
They are already signed, sealed, and done.
No chance of moving anything into that.
After their contract is up, I was told by a very close friend there that once their contract's up, we could then. I just have to find out how many more months they have in it.
I think they only started maybe a year ago or
Yeah,
so.
but the contract, and most of it is 24 months. It's usually 12 months, but the most is 24.
Okay.
That's
Anything
all I
else?
have for
That's
now.
all?
That's it for now.
Okay. Pat, do you have anything?
No, just that I'd like to mention the rabies clinic for the dogs has been moved to June 6th from April 25th. And if anyone has a dog and needs a rabies shot or a cat, come on out on June 6th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the back of the building.
See, you did have something. Thank you. Okay, we entertain a motion? Open to the public?
Motion open to the public.
Second.
Dawn's report.
Dawn?
Did you have a separate report, Dawn?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's
Take
okay.
that motion back.
Take that back, yes.
That's okay. Just to echo what was in Councilman Ricky's proclamation that he read, the police memorial is absolutely gorgeous, if anybody noticed it out front. We are having a dedication ceremony on May 13th at 7 p.m. I encourage the public to come. Second of all, the contractor began the structural engineering evaluation on the EMS building on Friday. So it's a work in progress. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I want to offer congratulations. We have a new EMS director, Miriam Barbarese. She's been an EMT with Spotswood since 2007, has worked herself up through the ranks as supervisor, and I'm really looking forward to working with her.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we're entertaining a motion to open to the public.
Open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is a general open public portion. Any comments or questions? Feel free to come up. We just need to state your name and address for the record.
Cheryl Bass, 289 Main Street. Once again, we've had marvelous proclamations, and I just want to say that with National Police Week, that we should always look to protect our police in light of all that has been happening very recently in regard to the police nationwide. So always look to be protective of our police and provide them with whatever they need. And I'm not the brightest, so I'm wondering, why doesn't JCP&L lower the rates if other companies are coming in, to take away that the money goes to, if the electric bill comes in, if it's JCP&L, and then the money will go to this other company, why doesn't JCP&L just lower the rates?
Well, they're regulated. That's all done with BPU, and they have to go through a lot of hearings to do that. So their rates probably don't go up as fast, and they don't go down as fast. And that's one of the things that's a little scary with going in an independent. I know, for myself, you get these letters in the mail, we want your electric business. But you've heard nightmare stories of people that have switched over and any of the rates dropped and theirs didn't, or theirs went up. So, JCP&L has somewhat of a monopoly. A lot of people don't think they can change it, so they're locked in.
Yeah, because I saw on today's news that the Supreme Court is taking on a new case that for on the national level, that they're looking at schools, hospitals, malls, shopping malls, that if they can do something with their electricity, maybe that at certain hours the electricity will be reduced, a different regulation. I didn't understand what the case involves, but also they're talking about utility uses with electricity, that at certain hours they're going to reduce the flow of electricity and the the Supreme Court now has to look into it. Is this allowed to be regulated? Is this allowed to be happening? So all of this is very confusing with the electric rates.
Well, I don't think a lot of it pertains to us yet, so with the state regulating things through BPU, I think we'd hear a lot about it before it has any effect on us. And if Elon Musk is successful, we may have batteries that we won't have to be on the grid.
There you go. There you go.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Solar's the answer.
Solar feeding the batteries, yeah. Anyone else tonight? If not,
Motion to close the public?
Second.
All in favor?
aye. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks, everyone on the dais. Good meeting, thank you.
How about if we adjourn?
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Yeah, exactly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Class there is that, feeder classes.